It is Wednesday night here on the 80s Forever and Ever Instagram page. And guys, I got something awesome coming tonight. Tonight, very special guest, a friend of mine, a Hollywood actor, a musician, a rocker galore. Ladies and gentlemen, in just a couple of minutes, or even sooner, Johnny Alonso is going to be joining me here on my live show. And I'm really excited to have Johnny on. He is a big deal in a lot of circles. And we're going to talk about Johnny's career, his music, the TV shows he's been in, his movie Harvey, which is an 80s thing by itself. And also, we're going to talk about the Goonies. Yeah, the Goonies. Every week I try to do one movie that is important to me. And in this case, it's going to be the Goonies. So I've got Johnny prepped with the questions that he's going to have to answer about the Goonies. Hey, Johnny, just click on the button that says to join the live broadcast, and you, sir, are in. Let's see. Here we go. We'll get you involved. All right. So in just a second, I'm going to be on, and yeah, Shannon, we're going to do some Goonies. Because Goonies is awesome. We're going to talk about the Goonies. We're going to talk about Johnny's career and the TV shows that he's been on. He was even in Gotham. That's cool in itself, right? So he's going to be coming on in just a minute. Johnny, I'm sending you the invite. You should be able to accept that, and we should be good to go. So while we're waiting for Johnny to join here, I always like to start out with you guys telling me where you are, where you're from, where you're checking in from today. As you know, I'm a born and bred Boston kid, and I am now down here in very South Florida. And I can tell you this right now, it is hot as stuff here, to say the absolute least. Johnny, it says you're unable to join. I'm not exactly sure why. I'm getting a bunch of different requests to join. Hey, Greg, thanks so much. I'm getting a bunch of different requests to join, Johnny, but it says that you're unable to, and I'm not exactly sure why. So let's just keep trying on that. I'm going to send you a request, and we'll see if we can get that to work, okay? Let's try that. So Dallas, Texas, it's raining where you are, Shannon. That's too bad. Edmonton, Alberta. How about that Connor McDavid kid? He's pretty good at his job. Fort Morgan, Alabama. Love it. Oregon, even more. 95 in Oregon. That's terrible. Big Sky, gotta love Montana. You guys are the best. So this is one of the great things about being an 80s kid, is that we can just talk all night long about the 80s. And from there, you can actually just continue the conversations on Nantasket Beach. No way, dude. I love Maureen. I love Nantasket. I actually used to have, I didn't. My family had a cottage down there. And we used to be able to go down to Paragon Park, if you remember good old Paragon Park down there. It's got to be here somewhere, Johnny boy. If you're on your phone, you should be able to click the button that says join, and you should be able to get involved. So let's see. Pin comment, remove, block. I don't want to remove or block you, Johnny. Should be here. Fort Lauderdale. I'm right up the street, dude. I'm a little bit further out. So, guys, just give me 1 second here. I'm just getting bringing Johnny onto the broadcast. Let me send that invite again. Dan does it every time, so that should be popping up in just a second, Johnny. As always, I've got my trusty 80s Forever and Ever, my cassette tape mug, which is one of my favorite things that I got. And also, it holds like half a pot of coffee, so you can't go wrong with that. What? I hear a sound. Hey, am I on yet, bro? I see a video clicking in. Johnny, you are on with the audio. We're waiting for your video, but I can definitely miss McRibs. Someone just told us that they miss McRibs. What the hell is going on?
You see me yet, man?
I cannot. Your video has not chimed in, but we do have the audio. And this is bad news for everybody who's tuned in, because they have to just look at me the whole time. I was hoping to get a little bit of distraction and have your Hollywood face join me.
Yeah, I don't know why. I see you.
Yeah, we've got. Well, in the meantime, Johnny, we can click a couple of things and see if you can get the video on. I know if I click the wrong thing, I'm going to show like the other half of my room. Oh, here we go.
Oh, wait.
You're just pointing it the wrong way. That's all. Guys, this is why when you see things in Hollywood, it's been like done over like 20 times because nothing ever goes right the first time. We're looking at all your notes right now, Johnny.
I'm trying. Yeah, no, I'm trying. No, I'm I'm in my studio, and I don't see how I can spin this thing around. This makes no sense to me. Hang on a minute,
There
man.
is a round. There's a button. We've got the camera, and then we've got the turnaround button there. That should be available.
No, it's not showing up, bro. Hang on a
Try
minute.
that. So this, guys, this is Johnny Alonso who's joining us now. This is very exciting for everybody at 80s Forever and Ever. Johnny is a Hollywood actor. Johnny is a purebred rock and roller. And Johnny is a philanthropist, does a lot of charity work. And you may have seen him on such shows lately on Netflix, such as The Outer Banks. You might have seen him on Gotham. Almost. Johnny is almost with us. He's hanging out sideways because he's so cool in Hollywood. That's what they do.
Is it working?
The video is on. We're just sideways. So we're
Hang on a minute, man.
almost there. We're so close. No worries at all. There we go, Johnny. It's all set now. You fixed it. Perfect. Leave it right there.
I should be good, right?
Right in front of the Marshall stacks.
That's it, man. Can you see me?
There we are. Fantastic. We absolutely can. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Joining me tonight on 80s Forever and Ever Live, we've got Johnny Alonso. Johnny, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
It's nice to be here, man. I'm sorry I can't see anything, and sorry about the technical difficulties, but I hope you can hear me, and just let me know if I got everything working, bro.
Yep, it's absolutely perfect. We're on. Everybody's hanging out.
Can you see me?
We have some questions. We absolutely can. Just want to turn that down a bit because I can.
There you go. Yeah, it's off. It's off now, man.
People.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you at first.
Awesome.
Now we're back.
Fantastic news. Well, everybody, if you haven't done this so far, your first order of business is going to be to follow Johnny Alonso on Instagram because, well, that's just sort of what the cool kids do. So, Johnny, let's jump right into some of the work that you've done. First of all, in the 80s, you were in a should have been big deal rock band that was called was it The Unknown?
Yeah.
The Unseen?
Yeah. The Unknown.
I was right. And so
you were
tell us a little bit about being a rocker in the 80s.
You got it, man. That was my first taste into the whole industry. Our band, we were like 14, 15, 16, and 17 years old. We were very young. But we were signed early because we were, like I said, we were this very young band, but we were a great opening band. And we had this very shoegazy, Joy Division, alternative sound
Nice.
at such a young age. And we were signed, and we came out with 2 albums. We toured from Boston to Florida, you name it, playing like CBGBs. I mean, at 18, at 17 years old. So,
Just
you know,
being in CBGBs once is an amazing thing, but to actually be able to say that you played there is a whole different level.
Yeah, dude, it was amazing. And in DC, there was this the original 930 Club, which was like home of like early punk and hardcore. I mean, the place was just.
Club,
yeah.
That's Minor Threat played there a lot.
Yeah. Minor Threats from DC, and we used to hang out with Ian and all those guys. So we had a blast, man. But I'm going to tell you, being in that band, like I said, we were a cross between Joy Division meets Echo and the Bunnymen meets Jesus and Mary Chain. And we had a cool sound, we had a cool style, but music was changing by this point. And college was calling. So we had to like make some decisions quick. And unfortunately, the band unraveled. But it didn't matter, man. 4 years in that band, we charted on the CMJ. We were in New Music Express, Maximum Rock and Roll. Our music was in every college radio station from Los Angeles to Baltimore, and it was one hell of a time, man. It really
I bet.
was. And yeah, I would never give it up for anything. But that's the reason being in that band was the reason that I got into acting, because I found out there was a lot of acting involved. And you
Yeah.
know, yeah, it was one of those things. So from high school, I went into college. I went to NYU, got my degree in acting, and the rest is history, bro.
That's awesome. Yeah, being able to be out there and to actually experience that side of music. Now, I have been an amateur musician for my entire life. I play seven instruments poorly, and I was in an Irish duo for a little while, and we played, three chords of the truth up playing some Irish clubs in Boston. And just that one like 18-month time of my life is just one of the most unforgettable times to be on the stage and to be actually that level of the entertainer is just amazing, isn't it?
Oh, dude, there's nothing like it, man. That immediate response and reaction, and being overly prepared, and also jamming with a bunch of people. It's acting is a one man show. We'll get to that in a second, but of course, you're still working with others, but you really are. You're really just this one man show that's working with others. In a band,
Yep.
when you're playing music, as you know, when you played live on stage, all the components have to be working. All those gears have to be working, and when it all
Yeah.
clicks, when you're clicking on all cylinders, there's just nothing like it.
Yeah, and certainly it's a different time now than it was in the '80s playing in those clubs, and it just I mean what an amazing experience. So from there you went to NYU, right? You
Yeah.
learned the trade, the official trade, and did you then head off to Hollywood? Did you go back to Queens where you were born?
Right. No, man. I stayed on the East Coast for a while. My first gig right out of the bat, out of NYU, was All My Children, and I played Susan Lucci's nephew for like a bunch of episodes, and working on
Really
a
cool.
soap opera. Yeah. Well, thanks. Working on a daytime soap opera. It's like working in theater. I mean, it's nonstop rehearsing, nonstop line changes, and your memorization skills have to be super strong. So I learned a lot at a very young age. Remember, I'm still like 18 at this point, 19. So um, that being said, right out of NYU, All My Children, and then I got onto stuff like Homicide, which was shot in Baltimore.
Dude,
Um, I,
Homicide: Life in the Streets, one of my favorite shows of all time. I
yeah,
lived in
dude, I
Baltimore for a
worked.
bit, and I used to see them filming it, and I was like, this show, like, get in the box with Frank, and it's over. Like, that's just the best show.
Dude, I had a great guest starring episode. I was so young on the show. Um, my guest starring episode, I worked with Ned Beatty, Andre Brower, Kyle Secor, and
Love it.
dude, it was awesome. If you remember the Kiss Rock and Roll episode, it was a Halloween episode, and
I tell you,
there were a couple
it's what
Kiss Rock and
awesome
Rollers that
show.
went up to the house. Well, I'm one of the guys. I'm the witness to the murder. So
Nice.
I had a great episode. So
Kyle
after
Secor played
Homicide,
Detective Bayless.
Bayless, Kyle Secor was awesome. The nicest
Yeah,
guy, super nice
really
guy.
cool. One second, really quick. For those of you who have just clicked in, I'm here with Johnny Alonso. Johnny is a Hollywood actor, a lifetime rock and roller, and a hell of a storyteller. So stick around for a couple of minutes. Don't leave yet, but when you do, make sure you go to the accounts that I follow. There's only 27 of them. I'm pretty specific about it. Find Johnny Alonso. Make sure you follow him too. He's got a lot of cool stuff coming up that we're going to talk about. So Johnny, after Homicide: Life on the Street, hey, look, Dan Regan's checked in. My buddy Dan Regan says, "What's up, boys?" I
What's
love
up,
Dan.
Paisan? How are you, Dan?
After you were done with Hollywood: Life on the Street in Baltimore, then where'd you go?
Everywhere, man. Like those early days, I had a great agent who I no longer work with. He retired, but he was like, "Listen, home is where you hang your hat," and I was really circling around a lot of great people. So I would audition everywhere. Like I said, man, from Boston to Florida, just like the unknown. I would travel. I would travel everywhere they would send me to for these great auditions. After Homicide, of course, I did like some independent films, a few commercials, some industrials.
Right.
But what took off was my guest starring recurring character on the show Dawson's Creek. And I played Jimmy Franco, 6 episodes. Yeah, 6 episodes junior stockbroker next to Katie Holmes and Joshua Jackson. And
Now, you're going to tell me
that
what
set
the
it
guy
off,
with the
man.
last name of Alonso played a guy named Franco? That doesn't...
What a stretch. What a stretch. So, no, I had a great time on Dawson's Creek. To this date, I auditioned 27 times to get on that show. And
Wow.
to this date, it went down in history that Johnny Alonso auditioned 27 times to get on the Dawson's Creek from the pilot episode all the way to the 6th season. And I'm glad I never booked any of those episodes or those auditions, because if I did, I never would have gotten the 6th episode recurring in the last season, which led me on to One Tree Hill. I was Joey D on One Tree Hill. And I'm the only actor from Dawson's Creek that actually transitioned over onto One Tree Hill. So I'm part of the WB family, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Very, very cool. For those of you who are just clicked in, we've got Johnny Alonso here from many different television shows. You've seen him on. You see him on Netflix. You see him in his own the movie that he starred in, which is we're going to talk about in just a couple of minutes here. And you might have seen him on my page many times, on my Facebook page as well, as a featured video of Johnny. You know what, guys? Sometimes Johnny just checks in and sits down with his acoustic guitar and plays an 80s tune, records it and sends it over, and people go wild for it. He's an amazing musician with a tremendous voice, and we're really lucky to have him here with us today. So be sure, before you click out of Instagram altogether today, not now but later, to go to the accounts that I follow. There's only 27 of them. Find Johnny. Make sure you follow him on there. So Johnny, after we're done with One Tree Hill, so we've got Dawson's Creek, onto One Tree Hill. You've got all those episodes under the belt, and then what happens?
It's wow. I booked a TV show as a host on a show called NASA 360. And I shot 47 episodes around the world with NASA. And
that's the pinnacle for me right there.
I've seen so many things that I would never see in my real life. Like, you know, I flew flight simulators. I wore an actual NASA, you know, astronaut's gear. You know, I was in front of the Mars rovers before they launched them off.
Wow.
So, yeah, I've done so much, man. And I found that I'm a natural host. I mean, I love hosting. Like yourself, you understand it's the interaction with other people. I've seen your work, you know, and it's very spontaneous, you know, to be a host. You need to have your information and your notes, but you also have to be very in tune with the person you're talking to. And I found my way with NASA 360, and I have to thank them because NASA 3 opened up many doors for me. I did a voiceover that's at the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. I'm the voice of Daniel at the Holocaust Museum. I take you through the archives at the museum, and my voice will be there for life. So
that's even a higher high than what most people are ever going to achieve. Just tremendous.
Yeah, man. Dude, thank you. It's like a legacy, man. It's pretty slick. And I got that because one of the producers from National Geographic saw NASA 360 and said, that's the guy that we need. That's the voice that we're looking for. It's the spirit. That's the attitude. And I think I auditioned against like over 300, maybe 400 voices for that. And I was lucky enough to book that. Again, you know, early in my career. And it's going to be there till the day we die. It's going to be there forever. I'm excited about it.
Absolutely amazing to have that on there. And while other things are seen or not seen and all that, that's one that very few, everybody's going to love, right? Everybody's just going to, they're not going to know, oh, that's Johnny Alonso doing that. But you're the one who's actually presenting it. And you're the one that's being that person and bringing that story more to life so people can understand what it was and how it was. I mean, that's like goosebumps amazing. So super kudos to you just for taking the job, because some might not have. So
Right.
that's really incredible to be
Thank
offered it
you.
and to take it as well. So that went on, and then you and I started talking
Right.
a couple of years ago, based around Harvey, right?
Yep.
Harvey was that was like you're like, hey, I've got this '80s movie that's it's kind of set in the '80s, it's kind of cool, and I was like, tell me about it, dude. And all of a sudden, here we are, and we're just talking like all the time now, based on that. So for those of you who are just joining me, I got Johnny Alonso here, and Johnny is a Hollywood actor, a rock and roller, a well-known man in the Hollywood circles, and you can find his movie. You can find he's on a whole bunch of shows you have on Netflix. Go to the IMDb, Johnny Alonso. Look at everything he's done. I would list it, but the battery would die on my phone before I did that. So let's talk about Harvey. Where did that begin?
Yeah, Harvey. Where did it begin? Okay, so the creator, Renell Golden, a very good friend of mine, producer partner as well. Renell Golden and her son Sean came up with the script Harvey. And I've already worked with Renell at this point. We did a project, like a Hallmark type show called Always With You. And Renell's like, listen, man, I've got this script. I've got some people that are interested. Do you want to play the character Keith? And I was like, sure. So read the script, fell in love with it, loved the whole idea about being in a small town. And then she said, listen, I need some help with this. You want to produce with me? I said, of course. And then she said, listen, you want to help me co-direct? I said, absolutely. So I got the trifecta on it. I co-starred, I co-directed, yeah, and I co-produced on this piece. And since I was one of the producers, and one of her main locations was a bowling alley, and we all know that, there's that real cool 50s through 80s vibe in a bowling alley. I said, you know what, man? What if we just threw this film in with that heavy 80s vibe with some killer music from some unknown bands and some bands that are well-known that have that 80s synthy, Marshall distortion kind of driven rock? And Renell loved it. And of course, when you thread music like that in a film, well, the image has to go along with it. So, a lot of the heavy 80s colors came into play. And I gave Darren, my very good friend Darren from Lead Don't Follow, I got him to put shirts together for us that had that bowling alley kind of like 80s colors. And yeah, Darren Griffith did a great job, and our set designer was fantastic. So the film, it's a modern day film with the 80s vibe, heavy 80s psychological thriller vibe all around it. And it's doing very well. It's only been out for about, maybe 7 or 8 months. And we've hit many of the platforms. If you want to see it, here's the plug, of course, Amazon Prime, Tubi, yeah, man, Tubi, Apple TV. The list goes on. I mean, we're going to be hitting the second platform of AVOD, which is all the video on demand, which will include all the big ones and international. But it's doing really well right now. So take a look at this film, man. You'll dig it. You'll dig it, bro.
Hey, guys, it's called Harvey, Harvey. I'm from Boston, so I like to spell things like that so people can understand what I've said. Because they'll go searching for Harvey and they won't be able to find it. So it's Harvey. Look for Harvey on all of on your streaming services. You've got a bunch of them. Keep searching on them until you find it. It's definitely on there, and that's got to be one that you definitely want to watch. And then after you do, you can tell all the people, oh wait, that's the guy Johnny Alonso. Listen, I follow him on Instagram, and you can tell your friends, and then they tell three friends, and they tell 2 friends, and so on and so on and so on. That's a early 80s Fabergé commercial, I believe, if you remember that one from a long time ago. One of your, someone from Baltimore checked it in the comments, Johnny. I know you can't see them, but he says, Johnny interviewed my band Tears of Mars back in the day in Baltimore. We have a new vinyl album out on Bandcamp. Love you, Johnny. So Tears of Mars, you had interviewed them.
Dude, they're fantastic. I saw them in their infantile stage, and I did interview them with my other TV show, Click on This. Wonderful brothers. They're phenomenal, and thanks for reaching out, guys. I'll have to look you guys up on Bandcamp for sure.
Very, very cool. Now, something that's a little bit of a heartbreaker, a tearjerker. You recently posted your interview slash with Olivia Newton-John at at the event. What was your inclusion in that event? How did you end up there?
Again, the show that I just mentioned that I interviewed Tears of Mars in, it's a show called Click on This. We are a pop culture, pop culture, modern, Hollywood news kind of show. And we get around. We've shot all over the country. We like to hit Sundance. So whenever we're at Sundance Film Festival, we meet a lot of people. And well, one day my producer, creator, Elena Moscat from the show, said that she is working on some big event. And she wanted me to interview the person. She wouldn't tell me who it was. So I said, sure, whatever it is, man. It's a celebrity. That's cool. I don't get swayed by anybody. So then
considering who your family members are, no, you're really not going to be too blown away by getting starstruck.
No, it doesn't have. We'll get to that in a sec. But she booked the gig and she said, listen, we got media passes and we're going to be interviewing Olivia Newton-John tomorrow. And I was like, who? She was like my first celebrity crush.
Hell
so
yeah.
Oh yeah, I think you too, bro. All of us. So I remember when we were in Queens, my mom bought her album, and it was her debut album, and that's all we would sing. My mom and I, my youngest brother, we would all sing the Olivia songs. So, but I remember when we got to the event, and it was for breast cancer. There wasn't really a lot of media there. It was basically me. So that put a lot of pressure on me. And if you watch the clip, you'll see how I messed up my stats. And
yeah.
it was great.
Albums sold.
Yeah, 1 million. She's like, 1 million. And she just laughed it off. And if you watch that video, she puts her arm around me like we were old friends. I mean, that's how comfortable she made me and how cool she was. So it was so nice talking to her. I wish we had more time, but of course her manager's watching us and like doing this with the clock kind of thing. Yeah, but she was so sweet. And then when she was talking about breast cancer, she actually kind of felt me up. We'll watch the video. And and I was like, I got felt up by Olivia Newton-John. How cool is this? So, and it was great because usually after those kind of events, media, as you know, you're supposed to leave. She let us stay, and we watched her perform 3 songs. I think it was Xanadu, Magic, and Physical.
Has to be Physical.
Yeah, dude, it was so awesome. And I was supposed to do a follow-up interview with her in Vegas just this year. But yes, with her untimely death, you know how that is. But she was a beautiful angel. She really was.
It's really awesome that you were able to spend that time with her. But like being that close to a star would drive somebody just over the moon. They wouldn't even know how to handle it. But some people, most people don't know what I know about a little bit of your family lineage. You happen to have an uncle that some people may know. Some people may know him. He once played a character named Tom in a pretty famous movie. He also played a guy named Hodges as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. You're talking about Uncle Bobby, I'm assuming.
To you, Uncle Bobby. To the rest of us, ladies and gentlemen, Johnny's uncle is Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall is the coolest. Uncle Bobby is the greatest. My parents and Uncle Bobby fly to Argentina with his wife, Uncle Bobby's wife, Luciano. She's from Buenos Aires. And they will dance the Argentine tango for 2 weeks in Buenos Aires and in the streets. I mean, they love spending time together. Uncle Bobby is he's a lot more approachable than you think. He is so, like Olivia, so down to earth and has like probably one of the coolest personalities. He's got to put on this exterior, of course, right. But you know how it is. but we've been talking with him for this upcoming project that I just shot a test for. Um, it's called the Chop Shop, and the Chop Shop, it's kind of a mob-based dramedy, and he's perfect for it.
Yep.
And yeah, I brought it up, and I was like, hey, got this piece. I've never asked him for anything, and he used to watch me on NASA 360 all the time, so he knows what I do. And he said, I said, we got this piece for you. Yeah, what are you talking about? I got this role, this character that we kind of put together. He's like, what's the character's name? I said, the character's name's Uncle Bobby. So yeah, and he's like, oh, really? Go figure, go figure. So we're still in a bunch of tests for this film, talking with distribution, and I've got a couple distribution houses that are very interested in it. And yeah, man, and if all goes well, dude, I'd love for you to come on set. I would love to have you there, man.
Listen, if I were on set, you would recognize me because I'd be the guy shaking like a leaf in the corner because Robert Duvall is somewhere within earshot of me. I mean, like just the character Hodges, you know.
Yeah.
Let's go to no. Let's not run down there. Let's walk down there.
Just walk
Come
down
on.
there.
That'd be absolutely fantastic. For those of you just joining in, I've got Johnny Alonso here. Johnny is a Hollywood actor. Johnny is a rock and roller. And Johnny has a ton of things that he's done that you've seen him in. You're looking at this and you're saying to yourself, where do I know that guy from? Oh, that was that show I was watching. Oh, wait, he was on Dawson's Creek. He was on One Tree Hill. He was on Outer Banks. He's in that movie that we rented a couple of nights ago, Harvey. This is Johnny Alonso. You recognize him. He's been around, and he's going to be in a lot more stuff coming up as well. So after you're done watching us here, don't forget to go to the accounts that I follow. There's only 27 of them. Find Johnny on that. Make sure you follow him because not only does he do awesome things here, you should see the cool stuff he posts. He takes the pictures himself sometimes, but it looks like it's just been just through the production because it's just some of us have to do a lot of work and others just show up.
Stop.
That's how it goes.
You should be my PR.
Well, it's getting about that time, Johnny, where we have to talk about the final bit of our conversation tonight, which is going to be what I promised everyone we're going to talk about, the Goonies. Now, I watched the Goonies for the first time last night, first time in probably about 10 years. And the reason is it really hasn't been available, right? There's some movies that are always on. The Goonies really isn't on that much. Every Saturday, you can find 16 Candles on one of the channels, but you're not going to find the Goonies on often. So we watched it last night, and if you actually pay attention to a lot of it, man, there's a lot of errors in that movie. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. They cut stuff out, and they didn't cut the other stuff out. So like, there's just statements that are just like, what are you talking about? But it's still awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Let's take a look at, first of all, you had mentioned that you recently watched The Goonies at someplace awesome. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, man. TJ and I, we went into Hollywood, and we found out at the Beverly Hills Hilton, where I go to a lot. They got this great tiki bar. But at the Beverly Hills Hilton, they have the pool, the outdoor pool. It's been around since like the early 50s. It's very mid-century looking. And they have movie night. And the pool's in the center. You got the hotel here, and then this perpendicular wall. Well, they blast movies up on this wall, which is painted white. It's like 50 by 30. It's huge. And just recently, they played the Goonies. They played Goonies by the pool at the Beverly Hills Hilton. I mean, Beverly Hills Hotel. Yo, it's fantastic, man. Cash bar, tiki bar, free popcorn, Goonies in a Beverly Hills pool. Super cool.
Yeah. I'll meet you there next time. Okay.
You got it.
I'm on my way. Absolutely.
I'll save you the seat.
Yeah, so we were watching it last night, and my girlfriend, who's a couple of years younger than me, had never seen the Goonies. She was surprised at how much there isn't. She's used to these big dramas where there's like the soliloquies and all this backstory, and then I'm like, here's a movie about like 7 kids running through the caves and yelling a lot, right? Like, that's pretty much what happens. So we're going through, and I had sent you a couple of questions, and I want to see what your answers are. We'll see if they compare to mine.
Sure.
So my first question for you on the Goonies, who is your favorite character on the Goonies? And you can't say Sloth.
I was gonna say Sloth.
It's
um,
everybody loves Sloth. If you don't love
yeah,
Sloth, you don't love the Goonies.
right. You know, and you're not my friend.
Yeah.
Let me think. You know, this was such a tough question because I'm gonna say, as an actor, our job is to make the audience and the viewing audience fall in love with your character or hate your character, make them feel something about your character. I feel everything for these characters
Yep.
because it is such an amazing job. But if I had to choose one, it would be Mikey, and I'll tell you
Interesting
why.
choice.
Yeah, most people are like, what? I'm like, there's so many others. I see Mikey because I see myself as like a young. When I was younger, as a kid, at his age, I was Mikey. Everyone always used to come to my house, you know. Meet in Alonso's driveway. Everybody played flashlight tag at my house. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, we had the pool, and everybody used to hang back at my place. So, I kind of feel for Mikey. I mean, if I had to choose one, but I mean, if if I could morph a couple of them in, of course, you know, Mouth and Data.
Data. Now that's my guy, right? That's my
Yeah,
absolute favorite character. He's
awesome.
honest, right?
Yeah,
He's caring. The conversation that they have at the end with his father is just so genuine. It's amazing. And you
beautiful.
know, there's a scene at the very end where he falls through the deck, and he's just yelling at the world, and he's referring to himself in the third person, and he's
Yeah,
yelling data this, data that. And man,
yeah,
I was
yeah,
just laughing and laughing. I was just like, that's it, that's my guy right there, absolutely. And I can
yeah,
appreciate the Sean Astin character because he is, as my girlfriend pointed out last night, he's the heart of the entire Goonie gang, right? Like
without question.
he's the heart and soul. He's the driving factor behind it. Everybody wants to
Yeah.
quit, and Mikey wants to keep going. But yeah, I'm totally grabbing Data instead. Which brings us to the next question, which is your favorite scene. Now, you know, there's a lot of different things that are happening in there, but which one of that, like, if you're walking by and it's on, but you're going to be late, but it's on, you're going to stick around and watch anyway.
Hmm. Um, I this again, everything about that film I absolutely love. But if I had to choose one scene, it's kind of a longer scene, but it's the Moss Garden wishing well.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'll tell you again, as an actor, it's because all the Goonies at this point have now come together and they're now one. And you're feeling for them. Laughter, excitement, magic, hatred, anger. It's all there. This must have been a director's dream. Um, Not only that, I had a huge crush back in the day on Martha Plimpton. So it yeah, I really did.
Johnny,
Jesse Black from Family
you know
Ties.
Kerry, you know Kerry Green's in that movie, right?
Yes.
And you're choosing Martha Plimpton. Listen, if you we can double date, and I'm not going to fight you on that
Paisan, just make the phone call. I'm there. But I'm telling you, man, um, that scene when Troy's calling down to Andy, blah 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 blah. That whole scene, you see tug of war, left and right, left and right. And for me, that was solid acting. Right before they start hitting all the crazy slides and stuff, which was
Yep.
fun. But the real that was real acting, and I enjoyed everybody's color. You know, Data had color. You know, you could sometimes you couldn't understand his English. Brand was supposed to be the tough guy, but everybody else was kind of like fending for themselves. It was such a great scene. So the wishing well scene is one of my favorites.
Fantastic, and it's like visually, it's fantastic as well. With just
It
the
is.
light coming down, like we've all been to wishing wells, we've all thrown coins down there, but I never really thought what else is going on down there. But after seeing the
Yeah.
Goonies, you're like, is there a big down? Can I go down there? Can I make?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
for me, my absolute favorite scene, because I was, when this came out, I was 12, right?
Uh-huh.
1985. I was 12, so
Sure.
I was right around Mikey's age. I
Yeah.
think that Sean Astin was 13, or maybe it might have been 14, but Kerry
Sure.
Green was like 18. And when she calls Bran over and Mikey goes over instead, and she grabs him and she just plants it on him, and like he comes back and he's just like, oh, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, every time I see that, I remember being at the theater, and then, you know, just always thinking anytime any of my friends' older sisters called me over, I'm just like, is this going to be it? Am I going to be the Goonies?
This is
Is
gonna
this
be
going to
it.
be it?
This is
Yeah,
it. This is it.
absolutely never was. But I always just, it was always a callback to that scene where, I mean, it's a case of mistaken identity, and it's 1985, so they didn't care in the movies. If that came out today, world-ending
No.
stuff. Right? I mean, this is an 18-year-old girl planting one on a 14-year-old boy. They're all in front of
Yeah.
Congress in the morning.
Even by mistake. I know, man.
Yeah.
The world's so sensitive these days, bro.
But in 1985, we got away with it and we loved it. So
Yes, we
that's
did.
the favorite scene. Now, we have to be
Yeah.
honest. No movie is perfect. What is for you a or the least favorite scene of the
Oh,
Goonies?
man, you threw some good curveballs in these questions because, again, like I said, I've fallen in love with everything. I mean, we saw this in the theaters, so it's been
Yep.
with me forever. And I never really had my least favorite scene, but I will say, after looking at it again, and I watched it a few times, like I said, I saw it at Bev Hills, and I saw it once on whatever. I'll have to say the opening when they're breaking out Frank from the county jail.
Yeah.
Frank Fratelli. Yeah, that was kind of boring to me. I was like, I hated it, and I know it was a setup to get the whole car chase thing and et cetera, et cetera. But for me, it was like, okay, let's move past this already. So I don't hate it. It's just it is definitely then my least favorite scene of the entire film.
And unfortunately now the Fratellis are fantastic, right? Mama
Yeah.
Fratelli's amazing. Any scene with Joey Pants is a good scene, right? He's
Phenomenal.
he's just he's awesome in everything he does, right? That guy eats a bowl of cereal, and I'm like, that's an amazing job. Like he's incredible. But for me, when they're in the basement the first time, when they're just kind of arguing back and forth, and they're like just getting ready to torture Chunk and all that, I'm just like I just want to just move on from it. I'm just like, okay, like we get it, right?
Yeah.
Let's just get on with this and get to the next one. But I mean, you watch it anyway because Chunk's story is a lot of fun. But like
Right.
that is just like an interlude that I'm just like, all right, let's skip this. Let's just move on, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
It was kind of bland. It was a little boring. That scene. But from a director's standpoint or from a producer's point of view, they needed to put that in there to build character, to build something to show you, this is how they all relate or they don't relate. So
Yeah.
I look at it differently sometimes, but
Well,
I
yes,
totally,
some of us are Instagram hosts on a Wednesday night live, and others are, Hollywood actors. So
yeah.
there's going to be a bit of a different perspective. For those of you just joining with Johnny Alonso, rock and roller, Hollywood actor, and just in a whole bunch of stuff already and more to come, of course.
Yeah.
Real quick, I also want to point out that I am wearing, as always, my Reading Rainbow shirt that I got from my friends at Retro Kid. I told them, send me the shirt. I'll wear it on my live. So the Reading Rainbow shirt, they've got some new stuff out, some Flintstone stuff, and there are some cool guys from Canada. Johnny, if you don't know the guys from Retro Kid, it's Eric and Steve. Eric is the voice of Bugs Bunny and all the Warner Brothers stuff now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like he does all the voices, everything in Space Jam and all that. It's the guys from Retro
Huh.
Kid. Eric
Very
Bozzik
cool.
is his name, and Steve is his partner, and they send me a lot of cool stuff.
Right
I'll bring you
on.
some stuff the next time we hang out.
Yeah, we'll hang out with Uncle Bobby, man.
Then we'll wrap it up, and I'll bring Uncle Bobby a Reading Rainbow shirt, and I'll be the king of the world.
Perfect.
We've got two more questions, and we'll wrap it up. I definitely appreciate your time tonight, Johnny. So this is a hard one, and I'm afraid to tell you my answer, but who is your least favorite Goonie?
Man, like I said, I've fallen in love with all the colors. It's so difficult. If I had to choose one, and I don't hate this character, it's just the one that I didn't relate to very much, it would be Brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, growing up, I was very alternative, new wave, that whole thing. So hanging out with jocks, that just didn't work with me. So watching him do his muscles and his calisthenics and all that jazz, I was like, you know what, man, he's the typical older. I don't care about him. But I still fell in love with the character. Just that if I had to choose one, it would be Brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not going to tell Josh Brolin that ever.
Please don't.
Literally
I see him at
ever.
Starbucks every time.
Yeah, I would never want him to think that I was even in the conversation. Um, but yes, the brand character is a bit bland, and also honestly, the Martha Plimpton character for me as well. And the
Yeah,
reason I say that is just because if you went through the whole movie and you erased her character, right, everything is kind of the same. She
yeah,
doesn't really tie anybody in. She's not really a part of it. If you take out Andy, then the Troy thing's gone, and that's a whole
right.
different story, right?
Well,
If you take out this or that, you can't take out any of the guys.
you know, it's funny, Paisan. I'll say this. You mentioned it earlier. You saw like some people had lines with that referred to things that were clipped. There was a scene in the movie about an octopus, and
Yeah,
Data mentions that they saw an octopus.
it
Well,
was very scary.
that deleted scene was Steph's or Martha's character, Steph, getting attacked by an octopus. Um, and it just didn't work out. Yeah, it looked kind of cheesy, and I can see why they cut it out. But yeah, I get it. If Steph was rubbed out, you wouldn't have even recognized her. But like I said, I had the hotspur on Family Ties. I can't help it, bro.
No, I completely understand, and I think she was in. No, I'm thinking of someone else. Anyway, so that was a great one. Now I was on with Dan Regan a couple of weeks ago, and we did 16 Candles, and I
Yeah,
gave him the same question I had for you on a scale of Ishtar to Top Gun, so 1 to 100. Where
yeah.
would you put this movie? So Dan put 16 Candles at a 90 out of 100. And now I'm
Yeah,
keeping track of all these, and this is going to be posted once in a while. So your rating
sure.
of this movie, you're the only person that gets to rate it. No one else can weigh in. On a scale
Cool.
of Ishtar to Top Gun, where are we putting the Goonies?
Well, it's such a classic film, and you know, it stands. I mean, you can watch this 10 years from now, kids will still love it of all
Yep.
ages. Yeah, closer to Top Gun, I'd say like seven below, so 93. I put it at a 93.
93 for the
Yeah,
Goonies. Hell yeah. I
yeah,
mean, listen, I completely agree. It's absolutely one of the best. It's one that you can watch. You've got some work to do when the Goonies on, you put the Goonies on and you do the work and you just kind of say the lines along with them and it's fun. State of the right. I
yeah.
know State of the Right. I always say that one. State of the right. I know.
Say
State
it
of the
right,
right.
say it right.
That's like my favorite line. I did that last night when we were watching it, and I got the side eye from the girlfriend, like, "You're not going to do this for the whole movie, are you?" And I was like, "That's my
It's like,
only one. I
dude.
promise. Just State of the Right. I know State of the Right. My
That's
absolute
great.
favorite line. Absolutely fantastic. So that's John. Listen, I definitely I appreciate you coming on tonight. Well, those of you just checking in once again, this is Johnny Alonso from television, from movies, from the rock and roll scene. Johnny's all over the place. You can find him on your local streaming service in the movie Harvey, and on Outer Banks, and on One Tree Hill, and on All My Children. Was it? Is that right?
Yeah, all my children.
From
Yeah,
from back in the day, if you can get it, he's
yeah,
on there as well.
yeah.
Tons of things and more things coming up. Find him on IMDb, follow the career. Find him on Instagram, one of the 27 accounts that I follow. Johnny was one of the first. I think Johnny was like the fifth account that I followed, which is pretty awesome.
I'm a lucky dude, man. Lucky dude.
My name's Paul. I love the 80s. This is Johnny Alonso. He loves the 80s as well. Johnny, last word for everybody who's hanging out with us tonight.
Who, me?
Yes, you, sir.
Yeah, I'm Johnny Alonso, and I'm just happy to be here at the 80 show with Paul. It's been a lot of fun tonight.
Spectacular. I love it. Johnny, thank you so much for checking in. Everybody else, I'll see you next week. I've got the Mint Chip Mama is going to be stopping by. We're going to be reviewing another movie. And Johnny, I'm going to talk to you soon, and we're going to get together, and we're going to hang out.
We will, Paisano. Thank you so much for getting me on the show tonight, bro.
Have a great night, everybody. Thanks so much.
You too, man. Thanks, guys.
See you, Johnny.
All right.